Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Ready to take your nursing career to the next level? At Global Nurse Pathways, we're here to make your dream of working in the U.S. healthcare system a reality. From expert NCLEX exam preparations to personalized consulting and relocation support. Led by the incredible Dr. Alice Nalondo, who holds a Doctor of Nursing practice and is certified as a family nurse practitioner and a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. Our team delivers top-notch training to help you answer the NCLEX exam. Once you pass your NCLEX exam, we will connect you with the US-based recruiting agencies, setting you on the path to an amazing career in healthcare. Ready to get started? We're just a call or a message away. Call or WhatsApp us now at +1 346 328 1110 for the US or +260 961 875 081 for Zambia or email info@embbehavioral.com. Let's make your dreams come true together. Global Nurse Pathways, transforming careers, changing lives.
Hi everyone and welcome to the show. It is Saturday, May 10th. We do thank you for joining us. It's Mother's Day weekend and we wish all our mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. Thank you for joining us. Please do subscribe to our show on ZBTR TV. We are on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube and X, and you'll be able to follow what is happening every weekend when we come on and we bring you interesting topics or subjects of discussion. I'm your host, Nathan Nkama from the state of Dallas in Texas. Today we are speaking about Zambian laws. Are they adequate to curb the child molestation cases that have surged in the nation? In recent days, months, and even weeks, we have seen some protests and people coming up making statements about this. Let me read something to you before I invite or introduce our guest. And I begin the quote. Sexual abuse cases in Zambia are pressing concern, with various organizations and government institutions reporting a surge in incidents. While specific statistics for 2025 are limited, here are some recent numbers and trends. 2022 statistics, Zambia recorded 33,536 cases of gender-based violence, including 103 murder cases. 2023 trends, reports indicate a continued rise in child sexual abuse cases, with organizations like the Joining Forces Alliance condemning the escalating numbers and calling for urgent intervention. We thought we should speak to this subject whilst everybody is consumed with a constitution amendment and all the political stuff. These are some of the things as Zambians we should stand up, get upset about, and make the loudest noise and everything else. Well, joining us today is Mrs. Florence Shakafuswa. She is a former drop-in center coordinator at Young Women's Christian Association, and she's the founder and executive director at Katuba Women's Associations. Mrs. Shakafuswa, welcome to the show, and good afternoon to you.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Good afternoon.
And how is the weekend? And happy Mother's Day to you in advance.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The weekend
What?
is
Yeah.
good.
What did you do? What did your work entail at YWCA as coordinator, drop-in center coordinator? What does the place? What goes on there at the drop-in center?
So the YWCA Drop-in Center receives cases of abuse,
Okay.
mostly domestic violence and just general gender-based violence cases.
Oh, okay. Okay. So therefore, you have some background and knowledge to our subject today and what we're going to talk about.
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah, please tell us about the work that has been going on at Katuba Women's Association and for how long it has been in existence.
Okay. Well, Katuba Women's Association has been in existence or registered in 1992.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but then we actually started working when it was about just before 2000, year 2000. And what made me resign from YWCA was that my husband just said we should go and start staying in the rural area because he wanted to stand as member of parliament.
Yes.
This was a very difficult decision for me. I had to stop work, but I still loved my work. I was passionate, very passionate about gender-based violence.
Okay.
And so
you couldn't drive from where? From the rural area to work? How long was the drive going to be?
It's a short distance, but then those days transport was really a problem.
Yes, I remember
It was
that.
really a problem. The network, the road network was not that good. Yes. So I had to quit, and then I joined my husband to campaign throughout the constituency. But during those campaigns, because let me say at the YWCA, I used to even appear on television and radio. So many people knew about the programs that I was handling at the Y. And so I would meet women during the campaigns who would say, yes, this is the lady who sorts out problems. And before I knew it, I had cases to handle.
When you were doing the campaign, you were encountering these cases. Wow.
Yes. So then women just started saying, well, why don't you just open up an NGO here in Katuba?
Wow.
And we got together with other women and the women in the community. So that's how Katuba Women's Association started. I started training a few women who I thought would help me with the work. Yes. And we registered it eventually in 2000.
Okay. So what sort of work and programs have been going on at Katuba Women's Association?
It depends on what is prominent, the cases that we're handling prominently. And so when we started, since with the Y, I was working with widows and orphans. So I started with that, inheritance rights. And so later on, we are doing gender-based violence and, of course, the green economy. I've seen that the constituency, most of the people, the community, are farmers. So we also try to carry out agriculture programs. Apart from gender-based violence. We have in one of the villages, we've opened up a drop-in center where cases are handled. And so far we've got about 4 paralegals who were trained by the legal aid or the legal clinic for women. And so they've set it up, and they receive cases related to violence.
So even in rural areas, it's prominent.
It's prominent. In fact, in rural areas, it's even worse because of lack of information and services. Katuba constituency, I think there should only be about 2 or 3 police stations. In fact, they are not even police stations; they are police posts.
Wow!
So
tell our viewers where Katuba constituency is, the area we are talking about.
Yes, Katuba constituency is just at the outskirts of Lusaka as you are going north, Copperbelt. So there's the stadium there, the Lusaka Stadium. After the stadium, we have Zanmuone. So it starts around Zanmuone and also goes further up to Protea. Protea lodges. And then on the southern side, we have Kafue and Chilanga. It borders Kafue and Chilanga.
It covers all that area.
Yes, so it's quite vast actually.
Yeah, it's a very vast place. Wow. Wow. Okay. I just wanted the people to get a picture of what we're talking about. As we venture into our topic for today, are Zambia's laws adequate to curb child molestation cases? Let's watch this video.
We demand that the rapists, when they are arrested, they should not be removed. Yeah.
All right, that's just a video clip to show some protests and people calling and demanding for action on the issue of child sexual abuse cases in Zambia, which have been a pressing concern for years, Ms. Florence. What, in your opinion, has led to the current surge of these incidents? The number seems to have, there seems to be like a pandemic or something has just, what do you think has led to this?
I think we have so many reasons. One of them is that we find these cases very common in children who are not with their real parents. Like they would be with step parents or a guardian who does not really look after them. But also there are so many other reasons. One of the other one could be, we have we believe in so many things, and so sometimes as Africans we do go to see witch doctors.
Yes. Who
prescribe a lot of things for us to do, actions for us to do, and some of them have confessed really that the witch doctor could have told them to sleep with a minor so that they get rich. Some of them sleep with minors when they get concoctions to remove HIV or be cleansed from HIV, things like that. But I think it majority cases it's neglect of children. Yeah.
What do you think we should do about it? You know, when I was reading up or just doing some research or investigation on this thing about witch doctors prescribing this, it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. So you have also mentioned remove HIV. What do you think we should do about this? This is simply a lack of ignorance or some disconnect in understanding of how things should work and what should be done. What do you think we should do? What should be done about this?
I think we should mount campaigns, connect with the community so that they're able to get the right information. Because even those who have done what the witch doctors prescribe, I think are still HIV positive. So they learn later on that this really isn't the solution. So then we need to mount campaigns. There was a recent campaign, just like you have depicted in the short clip there. But we also need to continue. You know, we seem to have died. The voices that are talking about this thing eventually die off. And when when they hear another case that has come up, then we start all over again. I think this campaign should be continuous, so that we're able to cover all the areas in our country, not just in Lusaka. We had various campaigns going on, but I don't think it was the whole country.
Okay.
So
yeah, and usually that is usually the case there. You have things going on maybe in Lusaka and the main cities, and then like you are saying, it dies off. My view, you can respond to this or you don't have to. This is we are so consumed with political issues. Did you see how the whole country was consumed with the constitutional amendment thing? Why don't we have the same zeal, Mrs. Shakafuswa, on issues like gender issues, gender violence issues? Nobody's even talking about the Kafue River toxic.
Yes, it's long gone now.
Yeah, everybody has forgotten.
Really, yeah,
until people start dying, then we are going to wake up. So why don't we have the same passion about these things like about political matters?
I think it's politics has been seen in Zambia as a way of getting rich. And for that reason, everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon. But from my experience, I think we hardly, because of the many demands that are made by the community to the MP, it even makes you more poorer, because you end up doing a lot and then depleting the resources, even your personal resources.
I can only imagine.
So, yeah, so really...
You've experienced this firsthand, right? By your husband being an MP.
Yes, I have. So, politics is... to everybody, it's assumed that you get rich once you are in power.
Oh, wow. That's the problem.
So that's why it gets more and more attention. But for things like sexual violence, who is going to give you money for going to campaign?
For on sexual violence,
or
nobody.
Just demonstrating,
Doesn't
and
get the attention.
The fact is that people are not really making it. We still have people who are very, very poor in the country. So the only way they get money also is through the campaigns.
Yeah, that's
when they start campaigning, they get allowances and all that. But I hope it will be a thing of the past. We're slowly getting out of that, but I don't know how long it will take.
It's a problem, big challenges. Please help us understand the existing child protection laws and what they entail and their scope, like the Children's Code Act and the Anti-Gender Based Violence. What do these laws talk about or cover? How sufficient are they to protect the children from sexual violence?
Okay, apart from the two laws that you've mentioned, we also have the penal code that is mainly the Zambia police force uses, the Zambia police uses.
Yes.
The three acts help to protect children.
Okay.
The penal code, when they talk about defilement, which is sexual abuse of a minor, it specifically says the girl child, and it talks about the age of 16 years. Anybody under the age of 16 is considered defilement. And so in these cases, when the cases are brought before court, those are the issues they consider. Is the person under 16 years, and where were the parents, and were they able to protect the child or not? And that's why I began to say that most cases were having those cases, sexual abuse cases, from children who do not really have their parents, their birth parents. And so they are kept by guardians who may not really protect them.
Okay.
And so the penal code, for instance, has a lot of gaps, because we do, in the Zambian situation, there is the customary law, which also allows marriages, traditional marriages. A girl can be less than 16 years old, and that will be illegal under customary law. So there's a conflict already in that sense.
So in other words, there is need for the laws to be amended so that they are on the same line, on the same, the customary and the legal, whatever the other ones are called. Yeah.
Yes.
So there's that conflict. That already there is a problem. Before we continue, Florence, I think, is there a way you can improve your lighting? It's becoming dark.
Yes, I can. Let me just switch on the light.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. But it will take me to leave my chair.
Don't worry, we'll edit it to catch the edit since the recording. Perfect. Mama never change.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The
sun is going down.
Pardon? Yes.
Oh, that's why it became dark. Yeah. You see, that's why I want us to do this at 16 hours when it's still light time. Yes. Yeah, we can continue. We were talking about the laws. You mentioned that there's a conflict between the customary law and those that appear in what shall we call it? In the penal code.
Statutory law, yes.
The statutory law. I like that phrase. So what do you think it will take to bring these two laws into alignment?
One of the things, I can give an example of one of the chiefs that we have been working with.
Yes.
Chief Chamuka. Chief Chamuka has a one-stop center.
Where is the Chief Chamuka's? Where is Chief Chamuka's area? Which is Chief
Chamuka is in Chisamba.
Okay.
And
very vast area, right?
Yes. So near his palace, he has built a one-stop center.
Oh, wow.
And for him, he has outrightly banned early marriages.
That's good.
So he's a no-nonsense, no-nonsense chief. And so he's also a UN person, you know, and the UN has even adopted him and has given him a lot of support.
Oh, that's good.
Because he has done something like that in a village. And so even the villagers or his subjects understand that very well. Apart from that, he produces booklets.
Oh, wow.
I know there's a booklet on
in what language?
In English. Apparently, he's looking for money to translate that to Lenje, because that area is a Lenje speaking area. So is Katuba.
Please let me know how we can get in touch with him and find money to do that.
Yes, I'll definitely do that. I'll share his phone number with you. So even as we are discussing Chamuka, the Chief Chamuka, he's a senior chief.
Yes.
So even here in Katuba, we're trying to emulate and also talk to our head persons, our traditional leaders, and the community at large.
Yes.
You know, but they also need to be backed up with information concerning, like the small pamphlets, very easy pamphlets that translate the law and make sure people know what the law says.
Okay.
So those are the kind of booklets that our senior chief, His Royal Highness Chief Chamuka, is doing right now.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes, he has got people who man the one-stop centers, and so they are also trained. They are trained as paralegals, they are trained as counselors, and they try and assist. If they are not able, because I think there are no lawyers there right now, so if they are not able to deal, if there's a really complicated case, then they report to the victim support unit or social welfare or the government, other government institutions that are able to assist. So there's a reference point where
that's very good. Maybe we need to take the prototype of Senior Chief Chimuka's work and replicate it or duplicate it in everywhere else across the country. So let's build on this issue of the penal code, the acts, and what is the set procedure of reporting a case by the victim or concerned family members. So if somebody has been a victim of sexual abuse or gender violence, what is the procedure to report the case? What happens?
Yeah, depending on where you are, if you are near the social services, social welfare, you are able to go to their offices and report the case, and the social service will take it up from there. Usually they'll investigate, because sometimes you may have somebody who doesn't want to be mentioned as the person who has brought in that case.
Okay, so they do respect that.
They do respect that and get all the information necessary. Sometimes the person can even escort them to just point at the house and leave, so that they are not implicated in the whole process. So they try as much as possible to protect the child and remove that child from that home and put the child in a safety home.
Okay.
These safety homes, they are very, very few in Zambia. And one of the safety homes that I know is in Chilenje for the government. Okay. They also the government liaises with other NGOs that have these safety homes and place the child there. For instance, YWCA works very, very well with the victim support unit.
Yes.
And then, of course, the medical examination is done to determine the severity of the case in concerning the health of the person or the child. And then they take the matter up, take it to court. Sexual offenses, the government is the lawyer, prosecutor.
Okay.
Yeah, the person who is aggrieved will not even get a lawyer, but
oh, really?
will give the person. But those cases really take long.
Why?
That's a gap, another gap. I don't know. It's a system, I suppose. It's a system.
Don't you think, just on that case, we're going to be all over the place here because you are mentioning a lot of things. Don't you think it is time we set up courts specifically responsible for dealing with these cases? Like I have said already, we've already mentioned that we seem to highlight and to give more attention to political stuff.
Yes.
We have the Concord, okay? They set up the Concord to handle these election disputes and all these things. Isn't it time to set up courts to handle these things specifically?
Yes, it's in fact we do have such courts. It's just that the work is just overwhelming. You know, you are talking about last year, was it last year, 2023?
Yes.
Statistics were about over 4,000 cases.
Is it 42,000?
Well, yeah, the whole year was 42,000. And I think this quarter, I think I'm talking about the statistics for this quarter.
Oh, this 2025?
This year, about 4,000.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
In 2025?
Yes. Which is why I think people have come up, you know, I think a month ago, there were campaigns all over the country.
Yes.
Talking about sexual abuse, especially at the time on Women's Day. That period towards Women's Day, there were several campaigns and we focused mostly on sexual violence of minors. Had 10-year-olds that were being defiled by the real parent, the father to the child. It was sad. There were so many sad situations, you know. So this man who had 3 wives actually defiled his own daughter.
10-year-old.
Incest, yes. And it, like I'm saying, it's one of those cases where there's a religion involved, where this man now went to a witch doctor and so on. You know, there's people have been reporting like that he actually had sexual intercourse because some witch doctor may have prescribed that to him.
How does, during the prosecution process, how does the police handle cases like this, or how does the law handle cases like this when a witch doctor is mentioned? Does a witch doctor also get into trouble or problems?
No, I don't think so. These are hush situations. I don't think they really come out in the court per se.
Okay.
Only when you are talking to, you know, when you are investigating, and then when you are talking to the people involved. But those are things that don't really come out in public. Yeah.
But there has to be, because I have noticed that in talking to people about this, you notice that this issue of a witch doctor saying, if you want your business to grow, to prosper, if you want to get promotion at work, this thing keeps coming up.
Yes.
I think the law needs to clamp on the witch doctors as well. I don't know how would that work? How would that work?
I don't think it can work because witch doctors are allowed to even advertise their work.
Oh.
I've seen a lot of posters as I was coming to my office. I've seen a lot of posters, witch doctors advertising the work that they do. So it's something that is allowed. That is allowed by, yes. In fact, we have the traditional leaders. I think they are gazetted.
Yeah.
They are gazetted, yes.
So when from what you're telling me, my understanding is that whatever a witch doctor tells a patient, so to speak, they are protected by law.
Not really. You know, when you're visiting a witch doctor, you don't, it's in secrecy.
Yes,
it's not something that comes out really, that if you don't even advertise. The adverts, of course, the people working as witch doctors advertise, but the people who go and to frequent those places, it's hidden. Okay. It's not something that somebody can say proudly to say that we went to a witch doctor. No, it's something that is hidden.
Don't you think in a situation like this is where now the church needs to step up, Florence?
Yes. This is a time when the church should get up. We have had counseling sessions in church at a Christian level.
Okay.
Yes, so the church also is involved in counseling victims of sexual abuse.
Interesting. I want us to zero in on in your responses to my questions. You've mentioned the social services welfare. Let's help our audience understand what government agencies are responsible for enforcing these laws, apart from the unit at the Zambia Police Service. What are the agencies involved in this process of handling sexual abuse cases?
Okay, we do have the social welfare services. They will investigate, like I said, just like the police do. The police will open a docket, a criminal docket.
Yes.
A criminal case where now they will arrest the perpetrator and take them to court. So the social welfare's part is to investigate and even be able to tell in which state the child is in. Okay. And sometimes even speak on behalf of the minor, the child, because you know, in court, some minors are not allowed to appear.
Oh, okay. How is the social welfare services structured in terms of where they are located? How do people know where to find these places?
You know, our courts, just at Boma courts, there's a social welfare office there.
Okay.
So they are very easy to find, and even in our rural areas here, we do work with social welfare officers. Okay. We do have them, yes.
So they are found at courthouses, right?
Yes, the extension officers, the social welfare officers are available and investigate. But now the funds do not allow. Sometimes the social welfare may not be funded adequately, you know, to handle such cases. And if the person who is affected may be able to provide resources, for instance, transport for the officers to go and investigate the cases and so on.
There comes that issue again.
Yes, yes. But majority, they do try. The government does really try to have these funding available. But I think also it's a matter of the overwhelmed cases that are there.
Okay. So we have the social welfare services who are based in the premises or in the same place as the local courts or the courthouses. And what is the department at the police, Zambia Police Service called?
The department at the police is called Victim Support Unit.
Victim Support Unit, all right?
Yes.
So you can also go to the Victim Support Unit and report your case.
Yes. And of course, the social welfare will take the child for treatment and for examination at the hospital.
Okay.
I remember one of the time I was working for the Y, that is one thing that we really fought for, that the services to treat the minor are free. Yeah, so I think that is a plus, because we found out that, the people who were arrested, the perpetrators, and once they are put into cells or in prison, they used to get free services, and they do get free medical services. So when you are taking a minor to hospital, you end up paying, the organization ends up paying, but that we fought, the women's movement fought for a free health medical facility for the sexually abused, and it was granted.
How would you rate the level of arrest and the prosecution of cases? I don't know, I didn't ask you for this before, but for example, of the recorded 42,965 cases of gender-based violence in 2023, do we have a reciprocal record of how many of these cases were prosecuted, people were arrested, and do we have that information?
No, that information is lacking, because as I earlier pointed out, it takes long for the case to finish in court. And also, if for instance I'm here where we have a case here in Katuba constituency, and then we do not have magistrates court in Katuba, so we have to travel to Lusaka. All those are costs.
Those are costs and expenses.
Yes, those are expenses which I think social welfare sometimes may not be able to handle. Yeah, so even the cases, really, that's why the cases stagger. Those are one of the few gaps, the many gaps that when providing such kind of services, it's really very, very difficult terrain. And as I said, the safety homes, we do not have a safety home in Katuba. Yes, I know there's a place where at 10 miles, we have a place where youths, but it's not a safety home.
Okay.
Where the government has a home for youths and people, I think they're handicapped children.
Okay.
Yeah, so safety home, I've never heard of a safety home, the whole of this constituency.
Oh, wow. The whole Katuba constituency. Wow.
So it means you have to go to Lusaka or contact the YWCA.
That's really vast. You talked about, I want us to look at this video clip here. You talked about kids being molested or sexually abused within the environments which are supposed to be safe for them. Let's watch this.
Over 60 children as young as 3 years are being housed in this facility operating as an orphanage in Lusaka's Chadle area. The facility is not registered with relevant authorities. The orphanage has long been a subject of allegations of children being sexually abused at the facility. These allegations have sparked concerns about the safety and well-being of children at the orphanage. One of the victims reported the matter to Community Development and Social Security Minister Doreen Mwamba.
First day yebananigwira ninaenda kuuza wakazi wao. Penina uza wakazi wao bananigwira nimenya nonuza ati onduka sta apologize pamenso y'abantu uwono ngazina ya bishop. Ndi mwana nyamukira naenda ku sta apologize na mukuru kireko pa vena kamba pokuna mizirani boza.
Mrs. Mwamba visited the facility to inspect the state of the orphanage. After seeing the conditions and hearing the accounts of the children, the minister was unable to hold back her emotions and broke down in tears.
We have a girl who has lived at this institution for 23 years. She came when she was 7 years. And all the years that she's been here, she has been sexually abused. This has to come to an end, and it has to come to an end today. Going forward, we will move with force, determination, and dedication to make sure that all the culprits are brought to book.
After her visit to the orphanage, Mrs. Mwamba met with Bishop Davis Banda and his wife. The minister admonished the clergyman for his alleged actions and issued a stern warning to others who may be engaging in similar misconduct.
Are you also aware that you are not allowed to import children from other areas and keep them under your roof? Are you aware? Banabanda, are you aware that? We know that you have been defiling those children, especially the girl children. We know. Don't even be shocked.
Bishop Banda and his wife have been arrested and are currently in custody, waiting court appearance. Mark Ziligone, ZNBC News.
I just thought that we should, play that. People need to see things like that. That's a very sad story.
Yes, it is.
That's a very sad story.
Indeed, because then this is a safety home. We can call it a safety home for the child. And if that's where the abuse is happening, so where does the child run to? And it took vigilant, the community was very vigilant to be able to go and report such a case to the police and to social welfare. In fact, the minister there is the minister in charge of social welfare, community development and social welfare. Yes, so she did very well. There's need to investigate, especially such kind of places where the orphanages and who is opening up an orphanage.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
I think we need to investigate thoroughly the kind of people that are purporting to help children.
It has to be a very sensitive. In your view and with your experience in this line of work, what is the plan of action to curb this situation before we end up with a generation of abused children?
I think I would want to say that the community should be very, very vigilant. The police cannot be everywhere. So as community members, we also have a role to play. If we have to, and even in our own homes, as I was a counselor, counseling some of the abused children, there were certain techniques that we used to use. So the child is able to talk. And for instance, if you're talking of a child who is maybe 3 or 4 years old, they don't know what is really happening to them. So we are able to bring out a story from those using the counseling techniques, we're able to bring out the story that the child is trying to tell us through child play. And these are some of the, maybe the techniques that we can teach the community to be able to understand and be able to learn and find out whether the child has been abused or not. Yeah, because
you need to have
parents may not be able to know that this child is being abused until, you know, you just becoming sensitive to the whole issue.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. What sort of services and infrastructure should the nation invest in? What do you think we need to do? Like I've already mentioned that the one-stop center in Senior Chief is it Chamuka?
Yes, Chamuka.
Chamuka. Yeah, that's let me write it down so that I don't forget. Chamuka.
Yeah.
So that you see, we need to highlight initiatives and efforts like this so that we expand or duplicate the same thing across the nation. So what sort of things, in your view, should we invest in as a nation to try and arrest this situation?
Safety homes that are safe. You know, I'm saying safe, that are safe. You've just given us this clip.
Yeah.
So safety homes that are safe and involving the community and protection of children. I think we also need stiffer penalties, because I'm looking at the penal code. Somebody who sexually abuses a child goes into prison for 15 years. Meanwhile, that child has to cope with a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
You know, and that disturbs the whole system, the growth of the child. And so 15 years for me is nothing. Yeah, because that's a lifetime of a child. The child will not may grow out of it with counseling services and so on. I remember the YWCA has a good case where this child who was abused, this person who was abused as a child, has even written a book, you know, to inspire other people who are going through the same. But she has been secluded from her relatives, don't even want to know her, because they think that this is just too embarrassing. You know, so she's one person who has stood up and said the book is being sold through the YWCA.
Okay.
The trauma she went through and the whole process, and for how many years it has been. So she's written a book to inspire other people who are being sexually abused.
Yeah, that's very important. We need to support initiatives and efforts like that. And
yes.
Yeah. You talked about the what do you call it? The jail punishment or jail terms not being. Do you also agree that there should be no bail for sex offenders?
I think so, because sometimes the sexual offender would be in the cells for a certain while. Then you remove the child and maybe put the child in a neighborhood place. The child starts seeing the person back in the community. I think it really not only hurts the child further, but even the child starts reliving that kind of trauma.
Yeah.
You know? So I think the cases should be dealt with. If the person has to be freed, let it be that the courts have said so. Yeah.
That's true. As final question, as we end up, I want you to emphasize and repeat this so that somebody watching out there who's probably been a victim of sexual abuse or violence understands. So if I know or somebody knows about somebody who's been sexually abused, or somebody who has been sexually abused and they're in Zambia, what should they do?
Report the case either to social welfare or to the police victim support unit. But also there are prominent other organizations that deal with that. For instance, the YWCA and many others. So if the report is done, investigations are carried out. They don't just take it like that. They also take the child for a medical examination to establish that really indeed this thing happened. And so when the police opens the docket and when they get reports from the social welfare department, they are able to take the matters further, to take the matter to court. And the court, the lawyers become the state. Somebody who has such kind of case is not allowed to withdraw a case like that.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's how it is. But you find that the families start negotiating amongst themselves and they just drop the case. You find maybe the child people just stop coming to court.
Wow.
You know? Yeah.
At the expense of the child, right? Without any consideration for the child.
Yes, because the parents or the guardians have been paid a certain amount of money.
Wow. Wow. Sad development. Sad development.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our show today. We were speaking to Mrs. Florence Shakafuswa. She's the founder at Katuba Women's Associations. When you're in Katuba, stop over at Katuba Women's Association and see what they are doing. Drop a few bags of mealie meal or whatever you can.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, my Florence? Yeah? Drop something there. Instead of you getting that envelope from the politicians, go and leave it at the Katuba Women's Association.
Yes, it would greatly help in achieving what we are trying to achieve. To have less cases of sexual abuse children. Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Shakafuswa. Let's end with this. I just want us to put up this and just everybody to look at this.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.